Okay, so today we're going to go over how do I actually score my survey. So suppose you had a survey, it was a lightweight survey, and there were 4 items on the survey, and you want to diagnose somebody as a particular level or whatever the situation is that they fall into a particular category. And so what people do, what's called scoring, where they will either add up the values and have a decode somewhere that tells you, okay, from 0 to 10, this person is fits into this particular category, and then from 11 to 15 or what have you, this person falls into that category. And so how do you arrive at that particular um, place where you're actually diagnosing what someone has or what category they're in based off of the statistics? Well, first you have to score it. So when you score it, you have to either add up the values, or what some people do is they get the average, especially when you have a Likert scale, because the sum, if you do not have a pre-existing scoring range of values that are attached to a particular meaning, then you would probably like to get the average so you know, on average, how did the people fill out the Likert scale survey. So we're going to do the average. So if we do the average, what you would do is create a new variable under transform, compute, and let's call this total score. Let's call this average score. That would make more sense to call it average score. And then you're going to put, sometimes I just go freelance and just freehand and just type. Other times I look up stuff. Let's see if this will work. It should, but let me just double check something. See, on this right-hand panel, you have different function groups, and the function groups have, yeah, this one. Yeah, I did it right. Yay! Go Amy. All right, so we hit OK. And now if we want to see if it took or not, then what we could do is we could look at the data itself and just see. All right, so we have the average for each actual person. Now this average becomes your dependent variable in a lot of instances, because you want it to use this dependent variable to tell you something about how the people answered. So another step that you may want to try to ensure that the average score or your dependent is actually agreeing with the actual values in your data. Because let's face it, an average, you can get an average so many ways that, you know, it just makes sense to do what's called a Chromebox alpha. So you do the Chromebox alpha. Let me make sure I know where I put this. Okay, so Chromebox alpha. And then you just add the items and the average score. And I just like to, there's certain things I like to tick off. I like to tick off these 2 things. Let's just tick all this stuff and see. I'm not going to do that right. I'll tick it, but I don't really look at it, quite frankly. And then we're going to say OK. And what we'll see here is that our Chromebox alpha is 0.868, which means that you want a Chromebox that's at least a 0.7. So our items for our that make up our construct tend to be in agreement with your average mean, okay, which is good. Okay, so you're dependent and the items are in agreement. Okay, so that concludes this short lesson on basically scoring your survey and also doing the Chromebox Alpha, which I hadn't anticipated, but I love to talk. So thank you for your time and attention.